So my name is Rishika, and today we will be learning about how to read music. So on a violin, violinists use treble clef to read music. So essentially, in music, there are five lines, just right on top of each other, and each instrument reads a different clef. So a clef, there are multiple clefs. The ones I'm familiar with are treble, alto, and bass clef. So you can think of clefs basically as different languages. So take, for example, English, French, and Spanish. We all share the same alphabet and we all write the same way, left to right, with spaces and capitalization and grammar and stuff like that. But each language it's still a different language. Each word is different. The way sentences are like sometimes structured, sometimes grammar is a little bit different, sometimes spellings are always different. So it's each language is individual to itself, but it still shares similarities with a bunch of other languages. The same thing applies to music. Each clef is basically its own language, but all of the fundamental things about it are the same. So let's start off. I am going to share my screen with you all. So let me just do that real quick. Okay, so this is treble clef. So this symbol right here on the left is a treble clef. That's what's going to tell you that you're in treble clef. So in music, there are five lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each line represents a different note. So in music, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you're going to repeat back to A. So you never go past G in music. So basically, yeah. On treble clef, each line and space correlates to a different note. Out of the notes I just told you, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, each line correlates to a different note. And once you get to G, you just repeat back. So the first line, the very bottom line, is E. The second line is G. The third line is B. The fourth line is D. And the fifth line is F. On the spaces, the first space in between the first and second line is F. Then it goes A, C, E. So an easy trick to remember the space notes is that it just stands, when you put the letters together, it just spells out face. So just an easy little quick thing that sometimes I use to remember. So on the top, you can see when all of the notes are put together, they go from E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then they repeat. So 8 notes from E, F, G, A, B, C, D, that is called an octave. Every 8 notes is called an octave. So whenever you go from one letter to the next higher or lower letter, that is the same. So if you go from like the bottom E to the top E, the letters in between from the first E to the letter right before the second E, that's called an octave. So every 8 letters is called an octave. So I'm sorry if that was a little confusing, but it's quite simple. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, that's an octave. The next octave would be starting from the next E, E, F, G, and then so on. So let's just do some quick practice. I'm going to stop the share, and you guys are going to tell me what notes these are. Here we go. Okay, so this first note, what note is that? I'll give you guys a second to think about it. Just pause the video and come back when you're ready. So I'm assuming you pause the video. Let's just think about this. So you know that the lines are, the first line is E, the second line is G, and the third line is B. So because the note is on the third line, the note correlates to the letter B. Now, try the second one. Again, same thing, pause, come back. Cool. So if you guessed E, that's the correct answer. It's because the first line stands for E in treble clef. So because the note is on the first line, it means that it's an E. Last one, pause and try to figure it out. Okay, so if you guessed G, you're correct. It's because the first line correlates for E and the second line correlates for G. So the note is G. Pretty simple. So one more quick tip I wanted to share was this is a way I remember a lot of the line notes. So you can remember it by using this simple phrase, every good boy does fine. So it just correlates, the first letter just correlates with all of the lines. So every for E, good for G, boy for B, D does for D, and fine for F. So the space notes are face and the line notes are every good boy does fine. So that's it for today. If you want extra practice, you can always search up online treble clef sheet music, simple treble clef notes, and you can practice by trying to figure out what each note is. So that's it. I hope that was a little bit helpful. And yeah,